there is a connection between the gamer and the developer. So we would love your
We would
soft
love
shield.
to.
Thank you.
We would love to, Pavel.
Thank you very much. Stanislav, you're back, brother. We cannot hear you. Now is not. Yeah.
Are we live?
Oh, so we're back, baby? Oh, are we live? Oh, perfect. Perfect. All right, we were just getting to a meaty conversation, talking a little bit about sort of the right usage of an in-game economy of tokenomics and when to launch a token. We had a little bit of a differing viewpoint amongst the panel members here, with the majority of us sort of advocating for waiting as long as possible. But Mr. Consul, the community lead at Big Arcade, gave a really great and empathetic perspective, saying sometimes the developers just need to raise some money so that they can save, they can actually focus their energy on building their games. And so this is a really important point too. So with that said, we wanted to talk a little bit about what is the right approach for releasing a token if you're in a position where you really need to. So we spoke a little bit while the stream was down about how you as a developer needing to release a token to raise some funds is a need that you have. So how can you make it compelling for your audience to want to purchase that token? What are some levers you can pull? What is some on-chain data that you can leverage? What are some ways you can get people to build on top of what you're doing? I'll leave it at that. Panel members, any ideas you would like to share? Let's go with Abhishek first.
I mean, this is a good question because even with us, when I first got into Web3 space and launched my first token, it was so terrible. Thankfully, no one invested, so everyone was safe. But yeah, I think one of the major factor to consider is how the whole token flow is going to be inside your game. Let's say even if I raise without having a game, ultimately there will be some holders, right, who will be getting on a monthly or whatever vesting or whatever the terms be. And if you make it too much or too less for someone, then it is going to destroy your whole token inside the game on the long run. So I think that should be pre-planned, how the growth you are projecting or how you think that how much the growth for the game could be and how many people could be interacting or engaging. It's tough, but it is still doable. And I think these are some preparations you should do. Pre-plan the whole development timeline as well. And then along the way, you distribute to the community or you incentivize users. And I am actually in favor if you incentivize people in terms of the engagement, how people are playing the game, how people are actually interacting with your tokens, and then rewarding them on some sort of some factors or something. So I really think Roblox is a great example, although they are not Web3 game, but how they incentivize people for engaging with these games inside the Roblox ecosystem or with different worlds. And I think that is a great model. IMVU is also one of the example where you get rewarded for every the time you spend inside these worlds in the game. So I think that should be adopted with Web3 games as well. If you are launching your token initially and planning to launch the game afterwards.
Great points. Mr. Consul, did you want to add to that?
Oh man, let me be honest. I got a bit distracted.
I knew I might catch somebody. I knew I might catch somebody. No, yes, uh let's go ahead then and talk a little bit more about how we see things progressing in the next few years. So a couple of years ago, we started off Web3 gaming with very much so speculation first. Maybe it was an NFT collection that released some shitty little game. Maybe it was a gamification of DeFi with a platform for staking certain assets. But these were not fun games. I think we can universally agree these were not fun games. And if you don't have a fun game, you don't have staying power. So with Avalanche Game Loop, what we're doing is trying to lower those barriers to entry for Web3, for game developers, and not just for Web3, but also for feedback for their games so they can continue to improve. That's kind of the current state of affairs. I think we've also seen some recent progression in user onboarding with much smoother flows for gamers to be able to hop right into the game, test it out, and then decide to sign up, save their progress once they reach a point where they decide that makes sense for them. Looking forward for 3 to 5 years out, what do we think? How do we think this evolution will continue? What are some areas where we think we will see more progress? What are some areas where we will look back and think, wow, that was really silly? Would be very curious to hear the perspectives from the panel members. Does anybody want to lead us off?
Mr. Console, if he's not distracted.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I'm falling in love too much with Mickey's voice. Everything seems so melodic. I'm getting lost in how he presents the thoughts that I'm losing the question. But I'm pro tokens. Let me just say that to kick this off. I'm sure, Pavel, you have wise thoughts to answer the question. I'm sure I'll pick it up from what you say, Pavel.
Okay, brother. Yeah, so do's and don'ts in the next 3 to 5 years. I guess in 3 years, we're going to talk about Web 4, most likely. So we're evolving very fast. And I think in the last year, in Web3 gaming has evolved, last half year maybe, or let's say 1 year more than the last 5 years, right? So it's becoming a bit scary, and the competition is becoming a bit scary. I don't know what would be the best model for a company for a platform more to move forward in Web3, because there will be so many new games. So the monetization model needs to be even new, unique, something that doesn't exist or no one thought of. How the retention is there also, different avenues, different, I don't know how AR, VR will evolve. I don't know, maybe that's the next evolution. So I find it hard, this is a personal opinion, of course, to believe that the future of gaming will look like it looks today. Maybe not in 3 years, but in 5 years. I think companies and big companies will start experimenting with things that looks like science fictions to us right now, but they will be not. I don't know if what can be placed on your retina, what type of glasses, what type of gloves, what type of you're staying in your bed and you're playing instead of. I don't know, but I think I just have a sense that we're very close of a shift in how do you consume games, and with that, I don't think Web3 will suffer in any way. I think it will just empower, because very close. We are away from that. Oh, Web3 gaming is a scam. Oh, Web3 gaming is a scam. That's grow up, bro. That's all I can say on that end with Web3 gaming is a scam. It's good. It's better that you play your game for 10 years and all of a sudden the server is lost and all of your time and resources are done and your inventory and your money spent. That sounds more reasonable. But anyway, don't get started with that. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Abhishek, anything from you?
Yeah, I was actually listening to Pavel, and it's just thinking about it, what could be possible in next few years is just so fascinating. I used to work with a VR startup for a while, and how I have seen the whole progress last 4 to 5 years since Facebook rebranded to Meta. Haptics have came up, Ribbon just came up last few months ago, and I think for gaming, specifically Web3 gaming, I think we have evolved from a time when we used to pay 50, $60 in gas fee, and now we are hardly paying a cent, right? I think one of the major innovation in Web3 gaming is going to be multiple monetization, which is going to come up where gas is totally going to disappear. Games would be using like ad monetization or account abstraction to sponsor the whole gas barriers, and they will be earning, creating good margins. And also, I think good ad networks are going to come. I was talking with couple of companies in KBW, and they are creating some great ad networks for specifically for Web3 games. So I think these two and multiple monetization avenues with different ecosystems, different technologies is something which is going to take Web3 games much broader audiences. Already, I think on Epic Store, we are one of the fastest growing game categories in terms of Web3 games. So I think there's a lot of potential, lot of innovations coming up in next few years, and I'm so bullish. Even a slight second thought of it makes me so dopamine addict.
I agree with that passion. I agree with that bullishness. I think it's an inevitability. Mr. Conso, when you introduced yourself, you said Big Arcade is a place where assets become games. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, definitely. Let me first tackle the previous question, then I'll explain a bit on the bigger arcade model. First of all, I just got distracted at some point, so my apologies. I think major dues are shared revenue. Shared revenue is beautiful. Everybody's talking about shared revenue. And with a little bit of clarity on regulations on whether that will classify your token as a security or not, makes it even more sweet. Another major do is let's utilize our tokens to reward users that are already engaging in our ecosystem rather than onboarding, because the quality of user you get from some sort of airdrop campaign or token initiative is usually not the best, right? Major don't is to have a hard wall towards people accessing your ecosystem by needing a token. I find that to be very repulsive. It could be convincing if you've been able to build a product and service that has so much hype, but initially it's always good to get people in for free, to offer them multiple options and not just buy this NFT or buy this token or get out, right? That's a major don't. Concerning the future, I think the physical world and the digital world are going to become way more blurry. Digital is something to be very bullish on. Digital NFTs are what actually revived the NFT market with Pokemon cards, so on and so forth. So that's something to really be keen on my part in the Web3 ecosystem. Circling back to your question in regards to what do I mean by games are assets, we're an arcade. We have multiple games. You pay to play a particular game, and then you're competing over ownership of that game through your high scores. So essentially, you become a real estate owner on the leaderboard. The higher your score is, the more payout you get if users pay to play and are unable to beat your score. That's our model. It's working great, and I hope we scale it very, very soon. That's what I mean by games are finally assets.
Thank you for clarifying that. And the panel here has raised some really incredible points. I want to also add my perspective. I'll first just talk about the digital point that Mr. Consul shared and say, one of the developers for Avalanche Game Loop did submit a very interesting game. It was not selected for the tournament because we felt it still had a little bit of work to do, but the concept was very fascinating, and I'd love to share it with all of you right now. The concept was basically you speak with avatars on screen, and they send you to go do missions. So think of it like GTA 5, but instead of walking up to an NPC, you're speaking to an avatar on your phone, and they ask you to do a favor. So they ask you to do a favor for them. So one was a nun that said, please go to the closest church. And when you got there, she was waiting for you, dancing, and gave you the next step. One was a musician who was very finicky about his music taste. And so you were tasked with finding him a new song, and he rated your taste in music. And these types of games, I think, will continue to progress. I know that that developer has intention to integrate advertisements into that type of a format as well, which would mean basically find something in XYZ game and then go and prove that you actually did something in the real world, such as purchasing a Pepsi or booking a trip or doing something that the promotion requires. So I believe that will definitely continue to progress. When we shift back, and when I think about Web3 in particular, what I'm very much so waiting for, and I believe will be, there will be two camps of winners in the next 3 to 5 years in Web3 gaming. The first camp will be those developers that are extremely dedicated to their games. Think like those different reels that you see on Instagram where it says, day 1 of building a cabin in the woods, day 2 of building a cabin in the woods, day 3 of building a cabin in the woods. That's what you have to be like as a developer. Day 1 of updating my game, day 2 of updating my game, day 3 of updating my game, day 4 of updating my game. You have to commit everything to building that game, and your audience will love you. Your audience will love you. You have to be available. You have to be receptive. When somebody has an idea like, hey, let's add clowns to this level. If you can do that within 2 hours of them making that comment, your audience is going to adore you. That's the one camp, is the truly, truly, truly dedicated developers that put their heart and soul into it every single day. The second camp that I think will be the winners are the champions of composability. That means basically, I think we're still really waiting for a true Roblox, for a true Minecraft style competitor within the Web3 space. I know there's been some other ones, but like, come on, is dancing at some like fake virtual DJ thing really something anybody wants to do? Absolutely not. So creating that foundation where other developers, other gamers, other people can come and start to contribute to your game. They can use your on-chain data to create different in-game industries, different in-game marketplaces, different micro in-game economies. That enablement is also critical. So you have a choice. Either you dedicate your life, you dedicate every moment of your day as much as you can to crafting your game, or you enable your community to do that for you. So if you don't do either of those things, I don't think you have a chance because other people are going to be doing these things. And so it's just like a kid you tell who wants to be a professional soccer player when they grow up. Look, if you're not training today, the other kid down the street is training. So you've lost your spot. It's the same thing here.
Yeah, that's very powerful. That's very. I can address the message. Very powerful, Nikki. Actually, Are indie studio finding it easier to build on AVAX now compared to last year? Yes. Yes. I was watching actually earlier this week how the gaming, let's call it more infrastructure, not how many games are on Avalanche, even though that's also an indicator. But how many different tools are now compared to last year? And I think there are at least 10 times more. Last year and the last 2 years was all about the big names that helped a lot, in my opinion, AVAX to become a household for hosting this Unreal 5 type of games of the grid and so on. But from infrastructure perspective, it has evolved a lot. I'm actually happy that in the last 2 months, things behind AVAX, right? Everyone knows that they received, and they are still receiving a lot of hundreds of millions of dollars funding to go big, right? And I guess their objective is top 10 CMC, which is more than doable. But because of that, we also saw how different decisions on gaming were done for the better, and how now they're looking more into infrastructure and preparing more tools for layer ones, the games and the platforms that would like to go layer one next year than ever before. So yeah, I do think they are exponentially accelerating how they develop stuff, how they release stuff, and how this is important for me, at least, having a business within Avalanche, how well the different tools and plugins and communicate with each other, right? That's something I don't want to trash other chains, so I won't name anyone, but it's something that is so disconnected elsewhere. Here is it's just they blend, they match, they fit. I don't know how to explain it. So yeah, for the third time, I really think it's evolving. Let's take another question, maybe, Mickey.
I actually want to add on something there.
Please.
Because, Pavel, as the CEO of Funtico, I think you are being very humble right now. The work that your team has done over the course of the last couple months with this SDK for the Game Loop tournament is a complete game changer. We have set up an environment where if you join the Launch Loop Discord, I will share that in the chat in a second, you'll find hundreds of game developers from all over the world building fun games. When we started that Discord about a year ago, the questions were all about how do I integrate a marketplace? How do I set up embedded wallets? How do I set up an NFT collection? And the games struggled because the developers were focused on those things. Now, when you go into the Discord, what you'll see is, do you guys like this highlight about my game? Do you like the way that I've adjusted my gameplay? And that is much more healthy. These games are awesome that we're going to be bringing to you starting next Wednesday. I cannot emphasize enough, they are awesome. And so that is totally made possible by the work of your team setting up this SDK. We've had some developers focus entirely on their gameplay, not even spend a second thinking about Web3, and they have become onboarded onto Funtico and thus onto Avalanche in 15 minutes. 15 minutes, and they're completely ready to go. Leaderboard, feedback, everything they need to start getting that understanding of what they need to do to really take their game to the next level. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. For the gamers listening today, we're going to be keeping track of the scores. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you made me blush with that. Yeah, we the mission was always to create a better space and to do whatever we can to support it, no matter what that means, what resources it involves, what and seeing let's say appreciative feedback from the developers, and it feels like actually you made a medicine, right? And you're taking someone's pain away. This is how I feel when I read some of those chats. And I see my team, even in the middle of the night, being responsive. Okay, adjust this, adjust that. We're gonna take care of it first thing in the morning, and afterwards when I wake up, oh, this is fixed. This works. Now it works. Now I can improve. Now I can be busy on having the mobile version ready. Or I can actually do a new feature that was not in the plan. So seeing that type of feedback from the developer, it's let's say it just makes all of it worth it.
Absolutely. And Abhishek, any other closing remarks from you? I believe we wanted to share, Stas, if you can share a little bit about Khazar Space Black Hole.
First, I would like to compliment Pavel about it. I think the way and how easy you can make it for game developers to create something that shows the maturity as well of an ecosystem, right? Because a lot of blockchains, a lot of ecosystems, they want transactions, they want XYZ KPIs, but the whole thing, the whole idea about a ecosystem is when everyone thinks that they are part of it and they are contributing, they love contributing it. And with small appreciation, if small indie devs feel that and they get motivation, I think that shows that people are, or we are creating a circular loop where more people are going to come. And I think a hats off for you guys, because I really think in this ecosystem, in this Web3 space, tech is not the problem, but the problem is the people and how we communicate our ideas with them, and how we can get feedbacks about what we are doing. And if we solve this, we can solve a ton of new things. About Khazar, I think, yeah, so Black Hole is our next game, which is coming up on App Store and Play Store. And really excited about it. If you guys want to try it out, feel free to drop us a hi on our X, and we can give you a alpha access on that.
Fantastic. We will definitely share that with the community. All right. I think we can wrap things up here for today. This was a phenomenal space. Stas, are we still live here? Looks like we are. Okay.
We are.
So perfect. Apologies, I had a little screen glitch on my end, but it looks like we are still live. Stas, if you were able to share about Khazar Space Black Hole, that would be great. Perfect. Thank you very much. Otherwise, I just want to really shout out the Avalanche Game Loop tournament that will be starting next Wednesday. And I also want to shout out the Avalanche Gaming team. They contributed considerably to the prize pool and to the funding of this event. And so it just goes to show that these guys really care, because, other blockchains might be promoting bullshit tokens and bullshit this and bullshit that. These guys are putting their money into supporting developers and making them know that, hey, they have a shot in this thing called the gaming industry. So definitely come and play the games next Wednesday. We have about 16 games that you'll be able to play. About half of those are basically more mobile friendly. The other half, we would recommend you play on your browser, on your desktop. Put in some blockers into your calendar. Tell your boss you're going to the dentist or something like that. There's 6,000. Oh, wait. I always correct myself. Pavel added 1,000. There's $7,000 in prizes that you'll be able to win. And it's completely free to play. So these developers, just keep in mind, these games were made in a very short time span. They will be continually evolved. This is very much a first version of these games. There may be some hiccups, maybe some things aren't perfect. And it's very important that you share your authentic and genuine feedback to the developers, because that's how they improve and that's how they make things better. So if you're thinking about joining the tournament next week, please, 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 please leave as much feedback as you can. Please be thoughtful about it. It really, really, really makes a big difference. So with that, I think we showed some really wonderful previews of the games throughout the entire session here. Stas, if you wanted to just put on the preview 1 video as we sort of close out the session here, that would be great. The one in the document, I will share the link with you right now in the Telegram. The one on YouTube. And in the meantime, while Stas is pulling up the video, anybody in the chat, any questions you would like to ask? Feel free to write them in. Shout out Khalil, one of the awesome developers in our community, somebody whose game you'll be able to play next week. He's the developer behind Numbers War, personally one of my favorite games in the entire jam.
Even though he's very bad at it.
Who, me? Yeah, I'm not great. I'm not great. Raz is always killing us all. It's ridiculous. We should ban Raz from the tournament, honestly.
This one is killing us on any game he touches. That's the scary part.
Ridiculous. All right, look at this awesome showcase here. We've gone through some of these. Infinity Warp. I'll speak a little bit about the games. Infinity Warp is made by a really strong community member of ours. Developer's name is Dino. He's based out of France. Really cool about this game is Dino's actually working on a full-blown release with the story mode and many different game modes on Steam. You can find it on Steam under Infinity Warp. And this game jam gave him an awesome opportunity to add an entirely new game mode. So our game jam was all around high scores, all around finding a game that you just want to play over and over again. Maybe your brother or sister is standing over your shoulder and you have to beat them. So that was the whole theme for this game jam. And so Dino went and made an arcade mode for his game that matches our game jam. And now he's going to get feedback on his larger release while also having added a really fun game mode. So talk about a win-win. The game you see on screen right now, Null Void, that's a game that was made by developers who actually won our last game jam. So quite a strong submission there. Their art style is always very provocative, especially with this more Doom style game. And I'm talking a little bit slow. Now we're over onto Numbers War. Numbers War, there are 2 games. This is going to be one of those games, which is Dead Zone. Think of it like a zombie game with waves of zombies coming over and over, more and more challenging, and you have to see how long you can survive. Some of my all-time favorite types of games. Laria Survivors. This one is really fun. It's very strategic. It speeds up on you much quicker than you think. You continue to level up. There's all these really awesome level up options. Your goal is to avoid the enemies while you basically shoot the different weapons. And so this is another really fun one that I'm very excited for everybody to play next week. And with that, let's go ahead and end the session. Thank you again so much for joining. Please join the Discord for Funtico as well as Launch Loop to make sure that you're up to date with everything related to Game Loop. And keep an eye out on our socials as well, as we'll be communicating everything leading up to the start of the tournament next Wednesday. Thank you again to our guests, and have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, guys. Thanks.
See you, A. Thank you.